There's a play so powerful that an old superstition says its name should never even be uttered in a theater. A play that begins with witchcraft and ends with a bloody severed head. A play filled with riddles, prophecies, nightmare visions, and lots of brutal murder. A play by William Shakespeare, sometimes referred to as the Scottish play or the tragedy of Macbeth. First performed at the Club Theatre in London in 1606, Macbeth is Shakespeare's shortest tragedy. It is also one of his most action-packed. In 5 acts, he recounts the story of a Scottish nobleman who steals the throne, presides over a reign of terror, and then meets a bloody end. Along the way, it asks important questions about ambition, power, and violence that spoke directly to the politics of Shakespeare's time and continue to echo in our own. England in the early 17th century was politically precarious. Queen Elizabeth I died in 1603 without producing an heir, and in a surprise move, her advisors passed the crown to James Stuart, King of Scotland. 2 years later, James was subject to an assassination attempt called the Gunpowder Plot. Questions of what made for a legitimate king were on everyone's lips. So, Shakespeare must have known he had patent material when he conflated and adapted the stories of a murderous 11th century Scottish king named Macbeth and those of several other Scottish nobles. He found their annals in Holinshed's Chronicles, a popular 16th century history of Britain and Ireland. Shakespeare would also have known he needed to tell his story in a way that would immediately grab the attention of his diverse and rowdy audience. The Globe welcomed all sections of society, while the patrons watched the stage from covered balconies, while poorer people paid a penny to take in the show from an open-air section called the pit. Talking, jeering, and cheering was common during performances. There are even accounts of audience throwing furniture when plays were flops. So Macbeth opens with a lateral bang. Thunder cracks and 3 witches appear. They announce they are searching for a Scottish nobleman and war hero named Macbeth, then fly off with chanting a curse that predicts a world gone mad. Fair is foul and foul is fair, hover through the fog and filthy air. As seen later, they find Macbeth and his fellow nobleman, Banquo. All hail Macbeth, they prophesy, that shall be king hereafter. King? Macbeth wondered. Just what would he have to do to gain the crown? Macbeth and his wife, Lady Macbeth, soon chart a course of murder, lies, and betrayal. In the ensuing bloodbath, Shakespeare provides the viewer with some of the most memorable passages in English literature. Out, damn spot, out, I say, Lady Macbeth cries when she believes she can't wipe her victim's blood off her hand. Her obsession with guilt is one of many themes that runs through the play, along with the universal tendency to abuse power, the endless cycles of violence and betrayal, the defying political conflict. As is typical of Shakespeare's language, a number of phrases that got their start in the play have been repeated so many times that they now feel commonplace. They include the milk of human kindness, what's done is done, and the famous witch's spell, double, double toil and trouble, fire burn and cauldron bubble. But Shakespeare saved the juiciest bit of all for Macbeth himself. Towards the end of the play, Macbeth reflects on the universality of death and the fertility of life. Out, out, brief candle, he laments. Life's but a walking shadow, a poor player that struts and frets his hour upon the stage, and then is heard no more. It is a tale told by an idiot full of sound and fury, signifying nothing. Life may be a tale told by an idiot, but Macbeth is not. Shakespeare's language and characters have entered our cultural consciousness to a rare extent. Directors often use the story to shed light on abuses of power ranging from the American mafia to dictators across the globe. The play has been adapted to many films, including Akira Kurosawa's Throne of Blood, which takes place in feudal Japan, and a modernized version called Scotland, PA, in which Macbeth and his rivals are managers of competing fast food restaurants. No matter the presentation, questions of morality, politics, and power are still relevant today, and so it seems is Shakespeare's Macbeth.
At the beginning of the play, Macbeth is a brave, loyal thane to King Duncan. After hearing a prophecy that he will become a king himself, Macbeth is overcome by ambition and greed. Bolstered by encouragement from his wife, he kills King Duncan and takes the throne. Afterwards, Macbeth's guilt, fear, and paranoia lead him to commit even more murders to secure his power. His confidence in the prophecies eventually leads to his downfall, and he is overthrown and killed by those who has won.
On expert's point of view, Macbeth is a play of contradiction and ambition. Driven to become a king, he will kill all and any that gets in his way. He puts his faith on the words and prophecies of the three witches after their first one comes true. Macbeth's wife, Lady Macbeth, is instrumental in his ambition, egging him on when he fears he has gone too far and scheming of greatness. The whole story of Macbeth is the story and tragedy of ambition, right from the witches to his wife pushing him to commit the murder of old King Duncan. Both of them are driven by their ambition. Shakespeare, of course, by bringing in the witches, convinces us that whatever happened was already determined and preordained. Thus, we feel a pity and even a sympathy for Macbeth. However, the main lesson to be learned in life is that do not be greedy, do not be ambitious, and keep your values of life intact. This way, you are not likely to go astray.
Look at me. So fat. I feel tired with myself. I'm so depressed. I hate myself.
Hey, what are you looking at?
Nothing. Wow, look at him. I want to be like him.
Hey, I need have this.
No, I'm not feeling hungry.
Oh. How about this?
No, thanks.
This.
Could you please stop?
Adi, why are you like this? You haven't eaten anything yet for the balloon.
Yes, of course. Because I want to be like you.
A few moments later.
Another important lesson that Shakespeare included in this play is to never be easily persuaded or influenced by something or someone. It is important to not believe everything you hear and be careful when taking others' advice, which is a piece of advice that Macbeth should have considered. After all, he is very superstitious and gullible. This is one of the main topics covered within Macbeth that correspond with everyday life. Many people who lack confidence or are hesitant are more likely to be influenced or persuaded more easily, as opposed to people who are assertive and decisive. This topic was displayed very frequently throughout the course of the play in various forms.
Hey, Erin,
Yeah.
what will be tested for tomorrow's chemistry exam?
Oh, only chapter 1 and chapter 2. The rest you don't have to study. I think you will surely get a class lah for chemistry.
Oh, okay. Thank you.
Alright, welcome.
The next day.
You say.
You can start now.
What is this? This is chapter 7 and 8, not chapter 1 and 2. No, she lied to me.
The next day.
Why not for tomorrow examination? Only chapter 3 and chapter 4 will be tested.
Oh, what? No, yesterday you lied to me. I don't believe you anymore. By the way, tomorrow is arts exam. There's no chapter in there.
I'm sorry. Another moral story of Macbeth could be to let nature take its course. For example, don't tempt the fate. Shakespeare liked to play with the idea of fate versus free will. It was prophesied that Macbeth would become the king. Macbeth took it upon himself to make the kingship happen, and because of that, he and his wife, among others, ended up dead. It could be argued that if Macbeth has believed in the prophecy, he should have let the nature take its course and he would have become the king. He believed in the prophecy, but not in the strength of fate to make it happen.
Yesterday, she lied to me. So today, I will have my revenge on her. Yes, it's finally done. I will swap this fake note with her note so that she will fail the test tomorrow.
Oh, I'm so sleepy. I will take a nap now. Okay, it's time to study.
Yes, I got her notes. I will surely get an A+ for the next exam.
The next day.
No, this can't be happening. How can I fail this test?
Wida, look at this. I got hundreds for math.
Oh, congratulations.
Thank you. I'm so happy.
As in most of Shakespeare's plays, he does a great job of wrapping up all the elements of plot in the fifth act. At the conclusion of Macbeth, the tyrant has been executed, the kingdom has been restored, and Macduff's family has been avenged. There is much more to the conclusion than just the fifth act. In Act 5, we also see the conclusion of several images and themes developed throughout the play. The theme of appearance vs reality and the motive of equivocation is brought to a close as Macbeth realizes the truth of the witch's prophecies. The repeated images connecting blood and guilt are brought to a close through both the death of Macbeth and the suicide of Lady Macbeth. Through each of these conclusions, Shakespeare is able to demonstrate the disconnected, what people perceive to be true and what is actually true, as well as show the very real consequences for rebelling against the natural order to life.
The beginning of the play.
Baiklah.
His wife has encouragement. He kills King Macbeth. McDonald's fried chicken. Macbeth. McBeeth. At the beginning of the play, Macbeth is a brave and loyal king to King. At the beginning of the play, Macbeth is a brave and loyal king to King Duncan. After hearing a prophecy that he will become the king himself, Macbeth. Grabe.
Even a sympathy for Macbeth. Jangan salah. This.
Could you please stop?
Hey, Adib, why you like this? You haven't eaten it.
Wida!
You haven't eaten anything yet dalam whole this.
For example, don't tempt the fate. Shakespeare's like to play with the idea of fate versus free will. It was